Hello, everybody. Today we have another wonderful panel coming, and we have three wonderful panelists. And now I will introduce you the first one. Um, the first one is Brandon. Brandon has been a member of the Theosophical Society for the last 14 years, and in that time he has dedicated himself to navigate its very depth. By day, he's a passionate English literature teacher, but by night, he's rumored to have the voice of an angel, writing and performing beautiful spiritual music. He also found the time to serve on the previous World Federation of Young Theosophists board. He is spiritually passionate and has organized countless meditation events for young Theosophists, especially in the Singapore area. Asking what his greatest joy is, and he'll tell you, it's the simple act of exploring Theosophy, experimenting its truth in his own life, and sharing them with others. Dear, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Mary Kay. First of all, I was quite surprised. My bio was only 2 lines, but it was expanded so long. Yeah, so yeah, that was very nice of you. Uh, Actually, I don't know how this works. So do I share for a few minutes or do we discuss?
Whatever you feel comfortable. We usually leave the discussion part later. So first, you're telling something about how, like for example, if you want, how you met Theosophy, or what has been the most beautiful, inspiring things like you have encountered through Theosophy, or before it, or after it, or so on.
Sure, sure. Okay, so I think it might be very similar to everyone else's experience. I think Theosophy inspires me with its grandeur, the grandeur of its truths. And it is really as though I'm standing on a mountain peak, immersed in a vast night sky. And you know, that sense of awe that comes down upon you when you see this whole sky of stars uh, standing on this mountain peak. And so Theosophy is like that to me, the path, the great ones. Uh, I think they are inspiring in a way that uh, is very hard to express. So I don't know what to call it. You may call it truth, power, beauty, goodness, wisdom. I just feel that all these terms are do not quite express that something that is immeasurable and um, includes all of them but beyond them all. So it seems very abstract, but really, I think the main thing about Theosophy that really inspires me is um, how real it is. I feel that it is more real than anything in my life. I think previously, before I discovered Theosophy, I thought my greatest joy lay in other things, you know, like love, like all these personal human things. But I really, after discovering the reality of Theosophy, I realized that exploring it is really the greatest joy that one can have. So, in exploring it, I feel that the most important thing is the direct touch. It's not just study, but the direct touch of the inner realities of these truths that we begin by studying. So, uh, in other words, it is really experience, not just in your daily relationships, in your daily life, but also that the experience of the larger consciousness, it begins there. So to me, I think that is really most inspiring. The path of holiness, the great ones, the lives of our leaders, and the planes of nature, the different levels of our being that Theosophy shows us, which is for us to experience for ourselves. So, uh, whatever tiny experiences we may have is really just like glimmers of light that you see in the valley from this mountaintop. When you look up, there's a whole universe of stars. So however transcendent your experiences are, you know that there's something greater, there's something more, and it is this oneness that holds everything together, and that you are to experience, to enter, to swim in the sea of love and go deeper and deeper and deeper into this oneness, which is the law of compassion, which is really the one thing that's real. And I think that's really inspiring. The one thing that's real is love. Everything else is really an illusion. So for me, I think that's the central thing. Nothing really matters. All the things that are happening in our lives, all the suffering and the sorrow, really is nothing compared to this ocean of love and light. So I think that is what inspires me. Thank you.
Wow, that is so, so beautiful and lovely. Can I just ask you one question? How did you first find Theosophy? How did you have the first encounter in this life with Theosophical ideas?
There is no short answer because as soon as I was born, even in the age of 5, all I've known is this seeking of truth. So when I was a toddler, when I was a kid, even 10 years old, I started seeking truth, reading up and things like that. So I've always known of this. Uh, I don't know what to call it back then because I felt like it's the inner side of all religions and all truth. But when I formally discovered it, I think it was when I was 20 years old, about 14 years ago, uh, I came across this website, the Singapore Lodge website, and the moment I saw it, I was like, how can I not know that this has existed in Singapore? How could it be? And the first time when I joined, I was like, what have I been doing all my life? This is exactly what I've been thinking about, what I've been, searching for. This is exactly it. And I'm only discovering it at 20 years old. Yeah, there was that.
Wow. Thank you. That was so nice to hear. Um, I remember the first time I went to actually there and experienced first lecture. I also felt like, okay, this is my place. Like whatever been before and after, this is my. I don't know how well things go, but yeah, I can relate to that. Thank you so much, dear. We will come back to you, but now we will get our next wonderful panelist. And that panelist is Kaio. And before that, I will tell you just a few things about him. So, Kaio has been a member of Theosophical Society since 2015. And in this time, he put his electrical engineering degree into a good use. By day, he works as a machine learning engineer, teaching computers to think. By night, he dives deep into the ultimate mystery, the human mind itself. With the knack of exploring and fascinating and sometimes confusing introspections of science, philosophy, and spirituality, Kaio always is the first to raise his hand to help. Thank you, dear, to have you here. And now the floor is yours.
Thank you. Also, thank you for the surprise. My bio was also expanded quite a bit. So thank you. It was very lovely and creative. So yeah, okay, about me and what inspired me. So I've also always been kind of a searcher for truth, always feeling kind of displaced for like the whole world was playing a joke on me and I was the only one who didn't know. So what is it? I mean, I can't find it, but I know there's something missing. And for a while, I mean, I was raised in a non-religious family, so and I've got an analytical mind. So for quite a while, it was in physics is what held the answer for me. So science and physics, And that was kind of enough in my mind, but still, I think there was a piece missing. And somewhere along the way in my early 20s, I had some kind of proofs that, of coming from science and philosophy, that just physics alone is not enough to account for everything. So, and at the same time, serendipity, I got presented with At the Feet of the Master. So that's how I got into theosophy. And I was inspired by the amount of value in that little book. Its simplicity, it's right to the point, and it kind of presented a whole alternative to what I had known from other religions, mainly Christianity, where you have this big Bible and lots of stuff, and they talk about inane things. Also, of course, very wise things, but it's kind of diluted. So I was very impressed by The Feet of the Master, and then I started searching for other things. Go deeper into theosophy. So yeah, what inspired me about theosophy? I really like the no religion higher than truth part, and I sometimes see theosophy as a staging area from which you are open to engage with many different traditions, other truth-seeking traditions. So, be that science, I don't have to let go of that. I don't have to fight it. And I can also engage with religion and philosophy. So big point for me is the motto or the lemma of theosophy. Yes. What sets us apart for me, at least, and the part I resonate with the most, is the focus on the inner life. So I was, At the Feet of the Master. It's a very internal book of self work, and that's something that I've been trying to always get a little better. How can I improve myself instead of trying to fix the world, which was also something I was misplacing my efforts on. And well, about inspiration, I think the biggest part, at least for theosophy itself right now, has been you guys. So I think I always say it. It's specifically youth. So I remember in 2012, I had a first connection with a group of young people in here, where we had a gathering here in Brazil. And it was kind of magical, like a meeting a kind of people that I hadn't had in my life before. So it was very, very magical. And then we drifted apart again because we're not in the same place. But then we had another international gathering in 2015, and it was, whoa, how have I not been chasing this? And now in Narden again, and I hope to this time around not let it not to drift apart, not to let it die, because I feel we really have something here with all of you, to seek together to build something, maybe, or maybe even just keep the flame alive, to inspire each other, to help each other. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, but I'd say the main focus of my inspiration in theosophy today is the Sangha, or it's you guys. Yeah. So I think that's it for me.
Thank you so much, dear. That was really beautiful, and it's true for me also. Uh, so, before we come back to Kaio, let's okay, Sagar, dear. Yes. So we have one more wonderful panelist, and let me introduce you now to Sagar. So Sagar began his journey in a small town in eastern India back in mid-80s. The curious and religious young man, his spiritual path took an unexpected turn when he faced a book also that started his journey to become an atheist, followed by an encounter with Chidu Krishnamurti, who brilliantly answers many of his questions, while somehow were able also confusing him even more. But ultimately, a fateful encounter with yoga gently transformed Sagar's entire perspective to life and love, showing him where to look for meaning in a world that is full of questions. So, dear Sagar, now the floor is yours.
Namaste, everyone. It's a lovely evening here in Chennai. It's been raining, unusually so. Happy to be here. A few familiar faces. And new faces also. So Theosophy, so if I start from the beginning, yes, it takes a little luck, or if you put it as destiny. So since childhood, I have seen a lot of conflicts. I have seen love, I have seen celebration, but it was really dominated by a lot of conflicts. And that really brought me to this question of what is really life? What is the significance of life? Why do we need to fight? Because there is no beauty in it. So that's how it all started, which I see in hindsight if I connect the dots backwards. And so there was a period when I was changing jobs every 6 months. Maybe it was, I had 8 or 10 jobs in a matter of 5 years. um, um, Trying to figure out what really works for me. And then finally, I had to quit my job. But in 2011, I somehow found a book by Osho, and the title was Freedom. That book, as if I was ready for that book, I got that book accidentally. Somebody else was trying to buy it from a second-hand bookstore. He went to withdraw some money from the ATM. In the meantime, I reached that shop and I could buy it. So he came back seeing that book in my hand. He said, "Sir, I was supposed to buy it, but I didn't have money." So then when he said that, I said, "No, now you cannot buy it anymore. I have to buy it." So then reading that book really changed things. In that particular year, I turned to atheism. The questioning mind started questioning everything more and more, and somehow Osho led me to Jiddu Krishnamurti. Initially, it was hard to understand Jiddu Krishnamurti. I remember I started reading him in 2012, 13, but I started understanding him 2015 and 16. So there was a lot of clarity reading Osho and Jiddu Krishnamurti. Yoga happened in 2017, early 2017. In life, I have observed that many times, in fact, most of us we really neglect our bodies, because that's the whole cultural practice. At least in this part of the world, we follow a trend growing up, getting degrees and maybe getting a job, getting married, and the trend continues with each generation. So so somehow yoga brought me to my body, understanding what breathing is, understanding what the body is, and not just anatomically, but from the energy perspective, from the perspective of being in the body, but not identifying with the body, which led me to a huge transformational perspective. Am I this body? Do I own this body, or who's breathing in this body? Because if I really see, I am actually not breathing, the body is breathing on its own. So that shift was difficult, because that was a shift of understanding, shift in understanding about life. And then when I connected it all to my past, the conflicts and the bizarre patterns of human beings, including myself, I thought, why are we in suffering when there is so much of beauty within myself? Why do we suffer so much? And so that gave me a lot of silence. Of course, that whole journey of 3-4 years was full of pain, a lot of tears, and a lot of I was lost for a while. It was really interesting. But I could figure out that was necessary for the change. That pain, that disgust, and the cluelessness, the disappointment was all there for a reason. And why did I turn to atheism was also for a reason. Because until unless I, as a practitioner, really let go of all the identities that I carry since childhood. The identities like my caste, my family identity, my country, the society I come from, every label that I carry within myself, in my head, that had to be broken. Because without them, without really getting away from those identities, I cannot be truly free. So it was incredibly difficult. But yes, it gave me a lot of wings later when I realized, oh, okay, this is very interesting. And I started meeting people from different parts of the world. 2017 was a year when I recognized that, okay, this is my path. If you have heard about a teacher called Muji, he is from Jamaica. He's a disciple of Papaji. Papaji was from Lucknow, who was a disciple of Ramana Maharshi in Tirunamalai, South India. So I attended one of his retreats in Rishikesh early 2017. And I went there with a lot of questions. I had just come out of a terrible, difficult breakup. And after the retreat, I realized, oh, I don't have any questions anymore. So yes, it is 2023 when I entered the premises of Theosophical Society in Chennai for the first time, thanks to beautiful speaker Ravi Ravindra. I have been in Chennai since 2018, and I've been hearing about this mysterious organization called Theosophical Society, a secretive organization. And a lot of my friends used to tell me, oh, you cannot enter that premises. You need special permission. I said, okay, whenever the world takes me, whenever the universe takes me there. And then when I really entered the premises in January 2023, I couldn't really believe that something as this exists in the middle of Chennai, a bustling city. And listening to Ravi ji was really calming. It was really, really calming. And I have not been able to read theosophical texts because I found them really boring. But and also I did attend a few other speakers, talks by other speakers at Adyar, and couldn't really connect as much as I could connect with Raviji. The very teaching, the teaching is not just words, the teaching which has silence in between words, and the words themselves can impart the sense of silence. So it was an addition, it was a huge addition to my experience of reading and meditating from different cultures, especially the Indian cultural practice of meditation and yoga. I'm not appropriating here. Yoga belongs to the whole world. At the same time, understanding what Theosophical Society stands for, it really added to the beauty of the spiritual practice in my mind, that spiritual practice cannot be really confined to a certain singular teaching. And Theosophical Society stands as an umbrella where we have this beautiful mixture of different teachings at the same time. Anybody can choose anything depending upon likings and dislikings. And my most the thing that I really treasure in Theosophical Society is my meeting with people, especially the young Theosophists. It's very difficult to really put these experiences in words. Of course, we dance together, we talk a lot, we share a lot, we eat food like wild beasts sometimes, as if we didn't have food a few minutes ago and we won't have food next five minutes later. But at the same time, we do carry this beautiful heart, which is really uncommon in the world that we see around us, right? I am not really trying to degrade the world around us. It is what it is, and that is also necessary. That's why it exists, and we are part of it. But yes, there's a beautiful teaching by Lao Tzu, the famous Chinese philosopher, that in order to find light, don't disturb darkness. Which, when I first heard about it, it brought tears to my eyes and gave me goosebumps. Because of the existence of darkness, we really search for light. And in the process of searching for light, we question darkness more and more. We almost negate darkness. Again, it's the same mind which is following, which is trying to find pleasure in the spiritual practice also. So it's a very subtle work, of course. I keep failing at it every day, but that's why we have friends at Theosophical Society to remind us, oh, stay in the center. I can go on, but I would stop. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to hear you. Wow. Now it's time for questions and comments. So anybody who has some questions to anybody here, especially our three wonderful panelists, then now it's the time. Yes, please, Miriam.
Well, first of all, thank you for your talks. I really love listening to all of you. And I would like to ask you, what would you say is the most important thing in Theosophy? If you had to choose just one.
So don't all rush to answer, please, Kaio. Yes.
Okay, I'll talk. So I really like the motto. So no religion or no dharma higher than truth, because let's say if truth is love, then on the search for truth you will find love, and if you're guided by that, you will find what is necessary. I think it's one thing that if we forget everything else, we could find it. But I mean, knowing everything else, you keep love also. So it is something that I've already found, at least as an answer. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think the same question goes to you. Yeah, please.
It's really difficult to point just one aspect of it. I would like to say Theosophical Society RDR. I would like to say the humans I meet there. I would like to say the brainstorming there that happens. But I think it's the essence. It is the essence that Theosophical Society stands for. Of course, we can go ahead and discuss about how we can improve the society and its reach and its model, how we can modernize the organization and all that. But the essence doesn't change. And that's what is bringing us all together, although temporarily, but we are connected through that. I think, Brandon, it is your turn.
For me, it is, I would use Jeffrey Hodson's term, all oneness. not just as a mental concept or idea, however useful it is at the beginning, but I really think the important thing is direct experience, inner experience of this. It is always progressive, so we experience a little bit of this one life, one aspect, another aspect at another time, deeper and deeper and deeper. But we must have that experience because I think if it's just a mental idea, no matter how much we want to serve, how much we do, it will still be artificial because you end up serving yourself until you really feel that oneness, that compassion. You are actually, I find that sometimes the ego does come in and you end up serving self and not the one self. So yeah, direct experience of oneness, I think that is the most important.
Thank you so much. Do we have some more questions? If we don't, then I have few. Okay, yeah, please, Leonardo, please.
So you told us about what brought you guys to Theosophy, and then what about what keeps you in Theosophical Society? What keeps you move forward in this? I don't know how to say, but yeah, something like that.
You
So,
want to answer, Vikesh,
yes.
or is it a question?
I think it's a question.
It's a question. So what keeps you here?
I'll answer. I think I already answered, but it's mostly you guys. I mean, I can find books, at least in the TS itself. It's you guys. I can find books online. I can will find other paths of truth, of searching for truth. But yeah, what keeps me in the TS is the people.
Thank you.
Well, I can point out two different ways of answering this. First, yes, as long as I can relate to anything, any particular practice, I will be connected to it. Whether in my case, whether it is my yoga practice, whether it is Zen teaching, whether it is Theosophy. So as long as I feel connected to anything, I'll stay connected to it. Theosophical Society is a unique blend of all the teachings. For me, being in Chennai, I feel really blessed because I could, even if I don't read the texts, I can visit RDR campus and be part of, be in the midst of the trees and the jungles. And whenever I can attend those talks by beautiful speakers. So it's a flag bearer of what we all are here for. And the second part is that it is a little difficult for me to point this out, but am I really part of the Theosophical Society as such? If I am in the spiritual practice, I am really not part of anything. I am just trying to collect anything and everything that I need on my journey. And then it's like when we clean the house. we keep everything that we need and we discard everything we don't. So, and there is a beautiful saying, we all are walking each other's home. So, because we want to, we really have the desire to be home. We are part of the Theosophical Society. Uh, Otherwise, we don't need it.
This was very nicely put. Thank you.
For me, it's because I really love Theosophy, and I think 10 years ago, I was already very sure to myself that I told myself, even if this were a sinking ship, which I'm sure it's not, but even if it were, I will stay with it to the very end. And after 10 years, I feel the same, but with a wider understanding that uh, life and the universe orders things, and it really is not up to me to choose, because I think my whole life I've realized that there is this force that is ordering events and circumstances, and it is this force, you can call it the Lord, the Supreme Lord, the universe, karma, whatever it is this law that has ordered everything, and uh, my I I fulfill what I'm here for best when I accept it, surrender to it, and not impose my own ideas on it. This has been what I've learned over the years. I'm a rebel, you know. Since young, I really couldn't understand uh, life and why it ordered certain things in a certain way. Now I can, so I will strive to surrender. Yeah, it's not up to me, basically.
Thank you so much. Vignesh, please.
Thank you. I really like what Brandon just said about going down with the ship if it comes to it. It's interesting. On and off, in conversations with my friends here, you talk about how you wish certain things would change. Things would this way it would be better, and that way it would be better, or if only this person had done this or that or whatever. I always say, the TS is not the people. The TS is the wisdom and the knowledge, and in that sense, it will outlast everything. So it doesn't really matter. Well, it does matter, but it doesn't matter as much as you probably think. What certain people are doing or how things are going. I mean, it'll all pass, but even HPB or the masters don't matter. It's what they teach or what they have deigned to teach us is what matters. That's very nice. Okay, what I wanted to ask Brandon in particular was, do you incorporate Theosophy? You're a teacher, right, Brandon? You teach kids. Do you incorporate Theosophy in your teachings in any way when you teach kids? If so, how? This could be a question for Clover also, if she's still here. Clover Sensei? No, she's
No,
gone.
it's not yet.
Okay.
If I were to use specific terms to teach, to incorporate theosophical ideas specifically, then I would probably have gotten into trouble and not be a teacher anymore by now, because we are very secular. But
Yeah.
incorporating theosophy as a spirit, a way of living, a way
Yeah.
of really the spirit in which you teach, this quality that you cannot define. I can say that I've only just beginning to understand and realize what it really is. I've been striving all these years, 5 years of teaching, striving to just bring in this presence, this quality, this to incorporate Theosophy in the way I act, in widening their minds. But I'm really only beginning to learn what this might mean very recently, actually. Yeah, I try.
Thank you. I have one more question for Kaio. Kaio, do you ever have to struggle to reconcile some of the quote unquote abstract concepts we deal with when studying theosophy with your more scientific bent of mind? Do you have to? Do the two come in conflict? And this could anyone else could answer. I mean, I'm sure Leonardus can answer this also, or Mary KG.
Yeah, I don't think I have problem with the more abstract ones. I mean, they are the easiest to fit because they are not so well defined. So they don't also provide like specific points of conflict. But there are some more specific claims that sometimes conflict with some evidence in nature. So those are the ones I mostly struggle with. But yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, since we already asked question from Brandon and Kaio, I will ask something from Sagar. You mentioned this teacher Munchi, who was and he gave you really good teaching after what you felt like you do not have any more like questions, or you found like kind of peace after hard period in your time. Can you tell, because for me it is a new name, can you tell something about his teachings, like something that he teach that bring out something that you remember that was especially good?
Muji follows the Vedantic teaching. Vedantic teaching, Vedanta, the word itself is quite self-explanatory. So Veda, the Sanskrit word, means knowledge. Anta means end. So Veda Anta means end of knowledge. Now, what this really means, the knowledge that we mostly pursue in our daily life, the material knowledge, the knowledge about how to earn money, knowledge about geography, anything that is available in books. So, Vedanta says that it is the study of self is the real knowledge. When we know ourselves, it is the supreme knowledge. And hence, all the Vedantic teachers, they focus on direct understanding of reality. Although it is difficult, it can sound very contradictory at times. In fact, the whole practice of spirituality is contradictory. So the most significant teaching in this practice is the question of who am I? Whereas if I really ask this question to myself, the mind starts giving answers immediately. I am this, I am that, and it just goes on. And a while ago, I was talking about identities. Right? So all the identities the mind creates for itself. In the Vedantic practice, we need to drop those identities. So Muji doesn't talk about different. He doesn't go around the bush. He simply directs a practitioner, a seeker, to experience it right now. So his teachings are really meditative. One could just listen to him with closed eyes and try to filter out all that the mind carries. And it is to an individual where one can reach. So, of course, it is difficult to decipher in this kind of teachings. When we are ready, they really help us to open up, open our hearts. So it is indeed life-changing. At the same time, one needs to have certain understanding in order to understand the Vedantic teaching. So in the practice of spirituality in India, we have this idea called the level of a student, where a seeker is in his or her path. But of course, when we meet a teacher, we don't judge ourselves. Oh, I'm not ready yet. Of course, many people do that. I'm not ready yet. Many of my students tell me, am I ready for yoga yet? But when we really listen, go and sit at the feet of a master, even if the words don't really make any sense to us, it is the energy that matters. It is the company that can really open up things. So his videos are widely available on YouTube. He's still alive. And of course, there are some controversies around him. It is important for me to mention that as well. But his teachings are beautiful. Yes.
Thank you for sharing it. And I totally understand if somebody gives you like higher teachings, it's so hard to put it in the words. Like we had once a seminar about secret doctrine. It lasted like 3 days. I wrote like 90 pages of conspect, and somebody asked me what was it about, and I don't know. I read through all 90 pages and I still could not tell him like what it was about, because it's not about the words, it is about this present. And sometimes some teachers like say some words, but it's not about those words, it's about this present. And so I totally understand it's so hard to answer, but I understand also this energy was exactly what you needed at that time, and that was helping you. Thank you. But on this same theme, I wanted to ask for Brandon. You said about something that inner realities of those truths, you were talking about the philosophical truths. Now, how can you explain somebody who does not know what is inner realities or truth, or somebody who is in the beginning of, who like young Theosophist, or like who's in the beginning of his journey, but really wants to understand?
That's not easy because I don't think there's a fixed answer. It depends on who I'm talking to. If someone is trying to learn meditation, then you would explain it by their experience. If they manage to calm their minds and sort of enter a little bit into this inner reality, they will feel that they will feel that there's a wide space, it's a vast, very spacious. They'll feel very spacious, very at ease, and that is one of the beginnings of the inner reality. If I'm talking to someone who is interested in science, maybe I'll use some other analogies, like the usual one of the touching versus seeing it. So you're touching and feeling things around the room in the dark. And when you actually experience it, you actually do see it and you smell it and you hear it. So it depends on who I'm talking to and what is their background. But generally, I don't bring in inner realities when I first if I just meet someone new because they will they may not get it very well. Yeah, so
Yes, but how would you, yeah, yeah, it's really hard to put into the words what is the inner realities of truth.
but I do think that I will always stress to outsiders that it is really the essence of Theosophy is not just it starts with studying and knowing what Theosophy is, but that is just the beginning. I will always stress that it is the experience, the direct experience that is most important. And I think some of these experiences, I think even people who don't know anything can understand if they were to, for example, people who are hopeless romantics, if you ask them what is more important than the than anything else that's more real to you, it will be love, even though you can't see it, can't taste it, they will just say that love is the most important, uh, more real than any physical object. So in the same vein, the reality of Theosophy is like that. It is more real than any physical thing. So I think there's always a way to reach out to someone depending on if we know them well. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I just recently met this young lady who says, I'm in love of love. Like, so she had tattooed something amore in her, and she said, it's because I'm in love with love. And I kind of like it because though she's not very like a spiritual minded, but I understand. I think it's something what you mentioned right now, that the love has like, and I very much like what you said, that this oneness, it's a law of compassion. It's the only thing that is real is love. And like at first it's like words, but it grows on you and there's coming more things out of it. It's like something that comes with time. Yes. Also, I wanted to ask Kaio about the Sangha, about the young Theosophist. That is your biggest inspiration. We all are moving towards the time that we are not anymore young Theosophists. Do you think we are able to continue this inspiration then? Building something, helping, doing together things. Do you think it's a thing for young Theosophists, or it's also something that we take from now and
Well, I do hope we make friendships for life. Maybe it's just an age group thing where, particularly because of the age difference and the way people see things, and dispositions that come with age. I've not been able to connect as much to an older generation, but to you, I mean, we have our differences, but we have a different energy and a little bit of I don't want to say equality because I've been treated quite equally even in other with older age groups, but I do hope we manage to. I think we formed good bonds, and sometimes I hope we become the old guys for the new generation, where they also find a group and connect. But I think it's an endless story. It will repeat itself. It'll be waves, and we're these torch bearers. I think we come in a group. And yeah, that's it. Maybe for me it's a bit stronger because I don't have that much of these type of connections in my day-to-day life. So it's something I miss very much in my daily life. But yeah, no buts. I think that's it.
I very much, like what you said about it. Also, I think if I think about young Theosophists, what I'm reminded is like in Tao Te Ching, it is said like what is young is flexible and what is like fixed and like brittle is the old one. And if the storm comes, the grass that is like flexible will survive, but the trees that are like holding too strongly will broke. And I think for young, it is like more the quality of flexibility. There's some older people who are like open-minded, seriously, and it is so easy to talk, and they have spark in their eyes, and they have this kind of quality, like you said. And then there's some young guys very quickly get very fixed with some things, and they do not let go. And I also feel like maybe in this youth gatherings and when we get together, it's more easy for us because we are more like flexible. We are all, and we are more open to each other. And I think it is maybe to try to carry this openness as long as we can throughout the lives. And yeah, I think this is one of the things. Do we have any more questions? We have such wonderful people here. Maybe Avi?
Did you just mention me? Hello.
Yes, I did.
Hello from Scotland. Hello, everybody, and thank you to our panelists. I'm still to meet Sagar and Brandon and everybody else in the East. I think what I find really interesting is, first of all, Kyle, thank you for your youth engagement, but I think we have to look at it from a different perspective and not turn it into they are younger than us. Because if we're spiritual people, we've got to remember that they're not just in physical body and physical presence. I think we have to get that mindset. Because one thing that I find really fascinating is when we came into Theosophy, there would have been a lot of older people who would have actually been in awe of us. Like if you think about it, a lot of people, like if I just heard Brandon's experience, I could relate to a lot of stuff from that in itself. And then when we put a number or an age, we never actually put that into perspective that, oh my God, this person's 20, this person's 30. We have to remove this materialistic view, I believe, that we have, because working in Theosophy and doing all the work that I'm doing with a university of the arts, I'm looking at it from that point of view of how do we engage with people. And this is the thing that we have to stop asking is we're asking far too many questions and we're making it complicated. First thing we've got to do is just do the work, get out there. They want to know us, they want to know us. So the first question is, how do we actually even get that started if they don't know what to ask? So I'm very fortunate being a millennial. I think most of us in this room right now are millennials. Anyway, that's Gen Z, I'm very sorry. It's trying to like figure out how do we just engage, and the engagement is just happening by this. So I'm planning on asking for more speakers to help me because we still have a physical building in Glasgow, and asking, we have so much opportunity. How do we move out of WYFT and show them that we are real people? Because most times when you see England and Wales, you're usually seeing people in their 70s and 80s and 60s doing talks, but they've never seen anybody this young. I've only found yourself this year, and I've been involved since 2013. So I think the question has to be is how do we move out of the boundaries of buildings, Zooms, and asking the question is what is relevant to us and what do we find fascinating? So that's what I'm up to, is what made us, and this is what I love about the panelists, is they've put their life into it. Like I think don't want to quote unquote, but Brandon's saying that he wants to just stay there until the ship drowns. And I don't believe that's ever going to happen because we're constantly helping each other. We've got the networks. So one question I would like to ask each panelist is, where are you going next? Without not just talking about engagement with the youth, is what are you doing next? Because I like that people are going through education and other means. It's a very vast network. So what is your vision? That's why I want to ask all of the panels, like, what are you planning to do next? That's now a question and not a big long spiel. So just to throw it out to my three really wonderful friends and panelists, what is your vision for the future and for youth engagement now? I'll keep it simple. So that's me. Going back on mute. Bye.
Thank you for this wonderful question.
Can we go by the alphabetical order?
We can. Dear Brandon, would you want to answer this?
Yeah, that engaging the youth has been on my mind for about 14 years in the TS, because when I first joined the TS, even though we are a very active lodge, every lodge meeting had about 60 people. It was a growing population, and I was the only young person. I think there are waves. There are waves and there are cycles. So Singapore Lodge, a few years ago, we managed to rejuvenate our demographic. We had a lot of youth, really a lot. But these come in waves, and the next step would be to continue to explore other avenues of youth engagement. So we are exploring, I think, to not be so insular, so to reach out to other organizations. So recently we're doing this, if Clover is here, she will be able to tell us. Leo also, we've been doing this casual poet library engagement meeting. It's a mini community library, and we have a small shelf there, and we actually hold small events there, and we have quite a bit of youth coming in, and that is our touch point, extra touch point. And the next thing that's coming up would be to have Zoom outreach sessions with advertisement to a wider Singapore audience on top of whatever has been happening at the lodge. So yeah, we're keeping active, we are keeping the flame burning, and I think there are cycles. So sometimes you may have fewer youths. Don't be discouraged, because as long as you're living the life, you are touching lives, and sooner or later these people will come. So I'm just as interested in attracting youth, but no longer as attached to the outcome as I was before. Back then, it was really the thing closest to my heart. But now, I think I do my best, and everything else is it's really not up to us. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I just had one thought here, like because Pablo Sender was talking about how they had like 25 years ago, yes, also a wave of young theosophists, and they did a lot of work to trying to get people, and some came, but they did not have this constantly that many. And he also reached the idea that it is kind of waves that comes and go. And I very much like what you said. You still give your best, but you do not get attached, because if you constantly give your best, this is creating like karmic reasons. Yeah, they come. Before we go to Harry, I would like to see if Sagar and Kaio would also love to answer Avik's question.
So I'll be short. Apparently, I'm very terse. So I'd say what has been inspiring me at least, and I think also you guys. I see the energy, the way you come back from these meetings, is to get us to meet in person more often. And maybe we get that, we bring that home inspired, and maybe that helps in working at our lodges, and also interact. At least when I go to gatherings, I get inspired to work more with the normal lodge also. So that's pretty much it. And I don't know if there should be some kind of adaptation for a younger audience, or like doing something like a marketing research. How can we touch the most people, and that touch people's heart the most? Well, what's the way to adapt to the new generation? I'm not too sure about that. I like that as it's ageless wisdom. I think it's very good at what everyone does about doing the outreach, but and it's had proofs of working, right? Well, we have quite a few members, I think, who joined by that way, but in the end, it'll be what it will be. Yeah, we just do our best. Sorry, I'm rambling now. Yeah.
No, it was good. I think. Thank you. Thank you. Sagar?
Hello, Avi. Hope you're keeping well. Thanks for your question. The word vision sounds a bit heavy to me personally. But yes, as human beings concerned about the state of humans on Earth, as a human who's concerned about where we're going collectively and individually, yes, we do think, I personally do think about helping as many as humans as possible in my daily life. I am not really active in the Adyar Lodge, but at the same time, through my yoga practice, and while I share yoga, while I meet different people across the world, who I get to meet in India, I happen to talk about wide range of topics, including the spiritual practice, why spiritual practice is necessary, why, like Brandon used an interesting term, the hopeless romantics. And it is important to nudge gently, to knock slowly at the doors of people who are not on the spot. Depending upon different dispositions of people, I think the biggest or the most important or the strongest message we give out to the world, give out to people we meet, is how we are, how I am individually, how I walk, how I speak, my actions. So personally, yes, I would be continuing this journey because I don't think I would fit in any other business of life. So going ahead, I have been talking to people whom I meet about Theosophical Society. In fact, Vignesh is aware. I do keep talking to people and taking them to Adyar. And of course, many of them are fascinated by it's just a curiosity that it starts with, right? Many people are not on this journey, but when life takes people through the grind of daily hustle and bustle, some sense of direction or some sense of truth can really help them shift their vision towards it. I hope I am able to do that whenever I can.
Thank you so much. And now, please, Harry.
I'll be super quick. So, firstly, I'm personally not a fan of the waves theory. I don't believe the membership comes and goes in waves. I recently saw an interview which really gave me a wonderful insight. So, it was an interview of the director of Barbie, the highest grossing film made by a female director ever. And then somebody asked her, there's so many films that are very masculine and they're only attracting the young boys and the male audiences. How do you make films that are also reaching out to women? Like, how do women come to theaters? So she said that happens when, now you have a writer's room. The writer is a man, the director is a man, the cinematographer is a man, the producer is a man. When 99 people on a set out of 100 people are men, and they sit and decide, how do we make a film for women? How do we engage women in our movies? She said that's not how it works. If you want to know what the women want, if you want to bring women to the theaters, you have women in those groups. So, for example, right now, when we are sitting here and talking about how do we engage youth, there should be somebody of the youth sitting here, like some youngster, teenager or somebody in early 20s. Let's ask them what kind of movies they want to see. Let's ask them what excites them. Let's ask them what inspires them. And hopefully we all want big blockbusters. We want to make movies for everybody. So I think, passing on the same analogy to the youth engagement of WFYT, it's time we need to start asking those people what they want, the youngsters, the people who are just knocking our doors, who are in early 20s. Let's bring them into these discussions and let's see what they want. And then that is how I feel any kind of a change will be made. Again, going back to the same analogy, a writer's room full of 10 men cannot fully justify, find, they can sit and discuss for 1 year, but they cannot really understand unless there are women with them in the thing to understand how women will come to movie theaters and watch movies. And Greta Gerwig did it with Barbie, $1.5 billion. So I'm just, I just thought I would give that example.
Thank you, Harry. I think, it has a good point. Also, we had actually proposed by Leonardo's to ask a question from Chris. I think it was. I think Chris may be able to give his perspectives for the Avis questions, because he's a Philippine youth section and he's been very active with a very long time. If Chris doesn't mind sharing.
Yeah, so I came into TS in between two waves. So the earlier youth movement is now known as the Theosophical Research Group when they became out of age. Their group is very philosophical, very theoretical, and sometimes they became a debate society. However, the only thing I have to say about that group is that they were intact, and they were so intact that after they stopped becoming the youth group, they became a lodge and they stopped interacting with the other lodges. So the other lodges, they're growing older and their demographics are getting, are aging demographics, while the young, they're just concentrated in one area. So that's one thing that I wanted to avoid with the new youth group. But during the time when I was new to Theosophy, I was the only young member outside of that group. And for a long period of time, there were no other members. Some same age as me, but they would come and they would go, or they would come if the topic interested them, and then they would go if they didn't. The new youth movement, the Free Space Youth Center, started coming in when I started to lecture in the TS. So when they saw that a young person was facilitating classes, they became more comfortable coming in. So I agree with the comment earlier that yeah, we need more young people to take leadership role because people can come in and they'll think that, I'll be able to relate to these people because they're the same age group as I am. However, free space, I think I mentioned this to the old WFYT board before, is different from the Theosophical Research Group because the Theosophical Research Group, they're very theoretical, they're very philosophical, they're very argumentative, they're very they're like a debate society. But free space, they don't like to talk about esoteric matters. They don't like to talk about theoretical stuff. They like to talk about practical stuff, and they're more in tune to things that they can do, like service activities, teaching English to out of school youths. So I think we also have to figure out, like what they mentioned before, what are the activities that they could potentially enjoy, because I think Leadbeater says that there are three ways to enter the temple, right? One is through study, one is through meditation, one is through service. So maybe the older youth group, they entered through study. Free space entered today through service. Although now they're interested in Zen meditation, so now we have a guest lecturer who does Zen meditation, but more in general, the free space members, they're still more inclined to active work. They're not really into theoretical matters. And even if we do have talks, it's always about practical matters. It's not about karma and reincarnation. It's not about the cosmos or anything like that. It's more on how do we get along with each other? How do we handle conflicts in the workplace? It's more of those things. And then I cannot take credit for the spread of the youth group in the Philippines. I think the major impact would be the Golden Link College. I think that is the major factor why the Philippine section has an active youth group. It's because of the activities of the college. And then even in free space, so we have a free space in the headquarters, but the Golden Link College has their own free space youth center. So I think it's more of them rather than me. And then even now when I was on sick leave, they're still active because they're being pushed forward by the college. So I think that's a really major one of the major impact of having a theosophical school
Wow.
in the
If
particular
I may ask,
section.
Chris, what are the
Yes.
activities that the college engages the youth in?
The last time I heard they have what do you call it? They have a service club. So they go do outreach programs. The last time I heard before I went on sick leave, they were teaching young people about English. I know that in the Philippines, we're quite famous for being a good English speaking country. But based on the reports on the news I'm hearing right now, I think the millennials are the last batch that are actually good in English. The Gen Zs and the Gen Alphas are having problems with that. And then Golden Link College actually does good work for English. So they also provide that. And then sometimes they also give counseling, so not necessarily problematic children, but like how to handle stress. They have like workshops on these things, and then some things that, like for example, basics of meditation. So they have topics like that, and then the Baguio thing. It's not specific for free space, but there are a lot of young people who also volunteered on that. So they TS as the Theosophical Society partnered with libraries, and then the young people would read books to young children. So it doesn't promote theosophy as a teaching itself, but it gives the notion that the people in the Theosophical Society are good people. they're not occultists, they're not weird people who we can't understand what they're talking about. It gives the impression that Theosophists are just like ordinary people. They interact with each other, with other people in a normal way, and they are very service-oriented people. So it paints a good picture of the society. So I think that also helps.
Thank you so much, Chris. That was very nice answer. Avi, I can see you had another question or comment.
Yeah, we just to say thank you to everybody that's doing the work as a broader spectrum, because I know when we ask Theosophists what is Theosophy, we all start getting confused or we like to define it in unique ways. But I like how we're still pieces of our jigsaw within our own universal map, such as we're like a family end of the day. Some get along, some don't, some love to share different things. But I'm seeing it as because we're in our own separate lodges, they're like homes, should we say. So like I'm in the UK, I don't think we're gonna actually see that we're gonna have an English issue, if that makes sense. So our engagement is going to be very different. So we've become very secular. If you've noticed, a lot of people in the UK don't even believe in religion as much as it may be on a rise. So it's starting to go in different angles. So this is why I'm asking why I asked, what is your vision? Is because I'm in the UK. So we've got Kaio in Brazil, we've got yourself, Brandon in Singapore, and then Sagar in India. So this gives me the insight of what this light that's been refracted like a little diamond of what's happening in your
And Miriam in
spectrum.
Italy and Spain.
Yes. So we've got like Spain and Italy, but I'm just talking about for now our how should we say our panelists, because I can only ask the panelists right now the questions because it was directed at them. So this is what I'm saying. My idea of engagement isn't just youth. What I'm trying to do is how do we bring them, and for me it's through the art. So I'm in a University of the Arts, and the first thing that's happened is I found stuff called Orpheus Lodge. And over 120 years ago, as you can imagine, they didn't have TVs, they didn't have anything. And the first thing that everybody's saying to me is, Abby, can you get a piano in the TS? I'm going to get a piano in the TS. We're going to bring things. And I've noticed it's not entirely we should just be focused on the youth. Right now, there's a political onset that's happening. How do I see what gets cut first is the art. And when we start cutting, so I'm looking at what is getting affected first. So for me, my vision is I'm going to create theosophy through the art, bring art exhibitions, talk to people, and it's through the visual that the person can actually have their own perspective. So we're not going saying this is the only thing, that's it. Because a lot of people I've been working with is they don't want to read. Sorry to say, a lot of them do not want to read. I like to lecture, I like to research, that's my area, but I can't enforce that on people. So what I've noticed is they are seeking music, art, drama, and that's why in October I'm looking for the person whoever did in May, the Shakespeare talk. So then we can actually have an engagement because in the UK, as you know, a lot of the actors and the young Theosophists that have joined my lodge, they've actually performed in the Globe. So there's these kind of things that it would be really good to connect with everybody globally. But I'm also trying to figure out what do we need in our respective lodges and local areas. So I just wanted to share that this is what I wanted to see. What's everybody's vision so I could see when I come to visit what is happening when I come to see my friends in their respective home.
I just remembered something. So whenever we have a board meeting in this Philippine section, I think the leaders would always ask, how do we make the Theosophical Society relevant? So, for example, we're partnering with libraries in order to teach English because we're addressing a specific need in the community. So I think that's also an important aspect because that way, people will look at us and say, oh, they're actually people who are doing good things in the community.
Yes.
No, thank you, Chris, for that because it gives me an idea of what isn't just happening here. I like to see because then we should actually be helping also, like just say, for example, if we have the option, we should pair up with Philippines or Singapore and see how we can support. Do you see like it gives us an because the one thing I keep saying to everybody is from the UK point of view, we don't know that yous exist. So then it would create like a kind of outreach program eventually, so that us in the UK should actually say, right, our friends and our other lodge members are there. So that I'm trying to figure out, how do we also do things locally? Because this gives us an idea, because right now we've had one of our libraries being shut down, it's getting sent to Amsterdam. But here's the thing, if there was anything that was not relevant, and if we have the budget, we would be like, well, there's a library there. How do we then redirect it and see what you would want? Do you see? So it creates this kind of outreach. Because if we are shutting down libraries, I'm just using this as an example, but you would need this. I think we need to talk about what do we need to do to help each other.
Yeah, I feel we are getting a little bit away from the panelists, but at the
Yes.
same time, it is so important theme, like how we make the Theosophy relevant, like you say. And this is the thing that, like, how it is inspiring, how, like, this is the main question behind it. So I'm at the same time, I'm so very thankful that you're all touching this in a different perspectives, because it's all serves the same thing. Like, how is it relevant for me, and how can I make it understandable for the others? And we have so many beautiful ways of seeing it. Do we have some last question or comment? Yes, please, Harry.
One last thing. Again, in the context of a youth group, yes, it is as much about how is it relevant to me, how is Theosophy relevant to me, but I think that is in the broader context of me as a Theosophical Society member. But I think when we talk about youth engagement, it's more, and if somebody like me wants to get involved in the youth engagement, then it's not about me anymore. Then it is about how is Theosophy relevant to a 20-year-old right now? How is Theosophy relevant to a 18-year-old right now? And what can I do in my capacity to take Theosophy to their relevance? Again, as a general member, yeah, it's about how it's relevant to me. But if we are talking about it in a youth engagement kind of a thing, I don't think it's anymore about us. I think it's going to be about them. It's going to be about the ones who are coming.
Thank you, Harry. Just a quick reminder, because there are some people who are interested Theosophy already in 20s, like Brandon and some others, and they're ready, and they are already from since childhood, they're questioning. And there's some other who are a little bit later, after experiencing some hardship, they're truly ready. They're not yet ready that moment. So I think there's a reason why the youth movement right now has increased from 25 years to 40 years, the age limit, because what is going on, I feel like 20 years old are important, but in my knowledge, if I ask around how many people actually in their 20s are interested, most of the people come later. There are few brilliant people who are in their 20s or even before 20s so interested in Theosophy. But I think the bigger question is not to get in a specific age group, because like somebody says very nicely here, it's not about the age, the 20s or 30s or 40s. It's about that when people are ready and they feel now that they want to know more about it, and these questions
No,
become important.
again, Merike, sorry for interrupting, but I think the bigger question is about how can we be engaging to the youngsters? Because again, if we don't, again, we all might have different opinions, but I do think how, the bigger question in the context of a youth group is how can we be engaging to the ones who are younger? I wish I had known Theosophy when I was 20 years old. I wish Theosophy somehow found way to me when I was 18 or 19, because that would have really transformed those very impactful, moments of my life. And I'm lucky I got it into later, which is great. I mean, people can run into something later, but I really think there are these really impactful years, and if we can be engaging to somebody at that juncture, there's, it's a great.
It's a very good point, Harry. Let's think about how to make it happen. Let's make it. Please, Maria.
Yes, I just want to say a quick thing. I think that in general terms, what attracts young people in a group, in a spiritual group, or whatever kind of group it is, it's that there are more young people. Because, for instance, when I speak to other young people interested in spiritual stuff, not that much in theosophy, but in yoga, meditation, and all of that, they tend to go to groups where they are marketing young people and, attending conferences and all of that. And it does happen that when you go to a lodge, I'm not saying that this is wrong, I'm just saying that this is what's happening, you see more elder members. For that people, that is not appealing because they are not yet that engaged with theosophical teachings. They are looking for, I think, just a spiritual group, another way of life. For instance, when I was 15, I had the privilege to go to Brasilia, to Paraíso na Terra, in a meeting where there were so many young members from all over the world, mostly from Americas, right? And that was one of the bigger reasons why I decided to become a member years later. So it is really important.
Yeah, the same as Harry says. If we could get the first touch of theosophy earlier, then they will have the memory to come back, even if they drift away for sometimes, they will have something to come back to it. This is true. It is very worthwhile to think and ponder how we could make it happen. And I very much like that at least Brandon has something going on in that directions, and also in Philippines there's something going on in the direction, and we can also think how can we make it happen in other places. Yeah, and I very much love how Avid brought out like that. Maybe it's not book reading, maybe it's art, maybe it's something else that triggers, and then get them to this truth. Because, like we said, we have truth, we have beauty, we have high ideals that all for different race people are the ones that call them to this. And like we also said, we have meditation road, we have the study road, we have the service road. And I mean, it's good to have understanding of all of those three, but usually one of them are more prominent in our life. Do the panelists have something to add in this end? In that case, thank you so much. Yes, please.
Yeah, last few words. I mean, I really appreciate what we really stand for as a collective group. Although, yes, we do want to help reach the Theosophical Society reach out more people, young or old. It is actually upon each of us at our individual capacity, not just collectively. Wherever we go, whoever we meet, what are we really doing? What conversations are we really having? So if we have the flame within us, then we can be, all of us, each of us can be a messenger of that message in the whole world. And I think as long as we reach out to one person, this flame will be alive. Yes, of course, there is a necessity to be active. But at the same time, I really feel that Theosophical Society has existed since centuries, and not just as a society, but as the eternal truth. As long as we have darkness, we will have Theosophy. So thank you so much for this gathering, online and offline both. I hope we keep meeting.
Thank you. Thank you, dear. I think you're right that what we can do is the very least keep it alive in us, and then even it's very beautifully put, even if we touch one more person. I read right now the Arundale's book, The Lotus Fire, and it says we are knocking with our life to other person's life, or the door of their life, how we live. And if we are able to do it at least one person to inspire, then it will not burn out. Yes. So thank you so very much. It was a pleasure to have you all, to see your thoughts, and I hope we will meet in many occasions again, and hope we have inspiration and strength to put some of these wonderful ideas into life and into a bigger scale life. So thank you all, and we will meet in this panel next month, and we will have then a special edition for you. We will have a very inspiring alumni session of 3 recently become alumni that has been very active and inspirational throughout this last few years. But meanwhile, bye-bye and see you.